Hi, welcome to LeatherUp.com. In front of me I have the Arai RXQ helmet. This helmet is available in a lot of different sizes and a lot of different colors. I happen to have the matte Oriental here and that's what I'm showing you today. But you can check out the website for all of the other options that are out there. So let's talk a little bit about Arai. Arai is a very traditional Japanese-owned company. All of these helmets are handmade. The helmets are actually made by 8 guys over in Japan right now, and those 8 people actually make all of the world's helmets. So they are very busy individuals building all these helmets, getting them out there. What does that mean to you? Quality. You're getting a helmet that somebody is building with their hands. This is not a machine that builds this. It's not a bag mold. There's a guy that actually puts all the different pieces of fiberglass into a mold, resin, checks it, comes out, hand checks it, and gets passed to the next person. Quality in Japan is bar none number one. Arai basically builds the helmet that you would build for yourself if you could afford to build a helmet. So they've taken and barred no expenses as to what they're going to do with this helmet in the event of an accident. And I'm going to talk a lot about accidents. Obviously, we wish that nobody out there has an accident, but a helmet is a safety device. We'll face it at the end. A lot of it's for fashion, it's on your head, it's out there in the open, but its main job, its sole purpose in life is to save yours. So this is much like your airbag in your car. It's there to save your life. How is Arai going to do that? How are they going to manage the energy that's created in the event of an accident? Well, one, they don't use a full laid piece of fiberglass. They actually use chopped glass, which is blown down into a machine that creates a random matrix much like a bird's nest. It's a very tight random matrix of fiberglass that's blown in and creates a shell. That shell then is hand checked before it goes into a mold and laid with the extra pieces. There are actually up to 28 pieces in an Arai helmet. Some have a few less, some have a few more depending on what that Arai helmet, what its sole intention is out there. The Corsair V is a race helmet. It's derived from racing, so it may have a few more pieces because they know that it's going to be dealing with a lot more speed. In the event of an accident, you can really never tell where that impact's going to come from and how hard that impact's going to be. So Arai's done a very good job of creating a very smooth globe type shape. If you look at this helmet, there's not a lot of obtrusive pieces sticking up off of it. There's a couple of vents on the top, and actually those vents are double-sided taped on. So in the event of an accident, they're not going to grab the ground and cause rotational force. They're going to tear away and get out of the way because we want this helmet to not hit the ground and stop, but we want it to glance across the ground. A glance is a lot softer blow than a hit is. So we want this helmet to glance and move. And with that shell being a very strong structural net, in the event of an impact that would actually fracture the shell, it will typically fracture where that point of impact was and then radiate the energy out and absorb the energy through the shell. Because we don't have a lot of high edges, and high edges, much like in the pond or whatever you throw a rock in, that ripple effect is going to go out. Well, we want that energy to travel as far around this shell as possible and not be localized. Localized impact is going to be a much harder impact to you, the rider. The second form of defense Arai uses is their EPS liner. It's the foam liner that's between the shell and your head. There's 2 ways of building a helmet. You can build a soft outer shell, but you have to use a hard EPS liner. Arai's philosophy is we'll build a very strong outer shell and use a softer EPS liner. The reason they do that is because your head comes in contact with the EPS liner. The earth comes in contact with the shell. We're not worried about the earth. We're worried about you, so we want a softer EPS liner in there so your head can push through that EPS liner, absorbing that energy and absorbing that impact and not transferring that energy over to you, the rider. So that is why Arai is Arai, and they're a very top-notch helmet. They've always been a top-notch helmet. They are not one of the price point helmets. You're going to pay some money for this, but you're going to get quality with it as well. So let's talk a little bit about the interior. This is where your head's going to be. So we want to make sure you're comfortable. Arai's using a very plush microfiber. It's a sweat wicking type material, so it's going to pull the sweat off of your body and out into the liner, where the ventilation then can either evaporate that sweat, help dry that sweat out. It is a fully removable, washable liner, just like all the Arai helmets. So after a year or so, or 6 months, this helmet, you make it through a summer, it's kind of starting to get that funk in there. You want to clean it up, make it a little pretty. You can pull all the liner out. I definitely recommend dishwashing detergent, hand wash. Don't put it in a machine, air dry out back. Put it back in, you're going to have a fresh new smelling helmet. It's going to be nice and comfortable. So, in the event of an accident, Arai actually has a quick release cheek pad system. This orange tab here indicates that, and there's also a note to EMTs on both fronts of the cheek pad system, noting that it is equipped with a quick release cheek pad system. The EMT could then pull that quick tab, which will release the cheek pad and allow the helmet to slide off of your head without causing any further aggravation to an injury you may have in the event of the accident. So definitely a bonus. Arai came out with that a few years back, brought it into their motocross line, and then moved it out into their street line because it was such an added feature that people really loved. So now it is available in most of the Arai helmets. I think Vector 2 is the only one that hasn't gotten that upgrade as of yet, but it's on the way. So you got your Arai helmet home. We need to figure out a little bit about what we're going to do with this. How are we going to keep ourselves cool? We want to be out there on the bike for a long period of time. You want to make sure you're comfortable while you're on the bike because that's going to make your ride more enjoyable. So Arai has really addressed bringing air in and getting air out of these helmets. Across the brow, which is very unique to Arai, there are two large brow vents that can be opened. Very easy to open with a pair of gloves. Well, those vents now actually vent to an inner brow vent, which pulls air into the EPS liner, into the channel, and down into your head. So you've got two large brow vents. You've got a large chin vent, which is going to vent straight into you. You have two upper vents. Now these vents pull air in and really get that air in. These are the guys that are right up in front doing the work. So these guys are very big vents. They're pulling air in, really getting the airflow in. But now we've got a lot of cool air coming in. What are we going to do to get the hot air out? Well, you know, Arai's actually addressed that. They've got a large diffuser on the back of this helmet. Quick, easy open. Push it to close it. But what this diffuser actually does is it creates a vacuum behind it. So as that air rushes off of the back of the helmet, there's a void here. Well, that void now becomes a draw because that air is rushing past at such a speed, it's got to pull air from somewhere to keep up. So it's creating a vacuum back here, which is helping to pull that hot air out of the helmet while the cool air comes in and replaces it. Same with the diffusers down here as well. They're doing the same thing, creating a vacuum to help get that hot air out. On the base of the neck roll, you have another diffuser here. So we're really addressing not only getting the air into the helmet, but getting the air out of the helmet because that's what's going to cause the flow. If it gets cold out there, shut these vents down, lock it down, and this helmet stays nice and toasty inside. If it's a really cold day, we've all been out there in them, you're taking the air in the chest, you really get that spooling effect underneath your chin. Well, that spooling effect gets to be kind of cold, especially when the temperature drops. Arai has a little chin bar you can tug down. It's out of the way when you don't need it, but when you need it, it's there. That chin bar now gives you the protection that you need to help keep that air from spooling up underneath. When you don't need it, you just push it back up and it's up and out of the way. Shield change system on the Arai is very easy. Once the shield is completely closed, it actually latches at this point here. To open it, you just come in from behind it, you lift it up off the knob. The shield lifts all the way up and then locks. With the shield all the way up, you get two tabs that pop out at the bottom. Those tabs are typically not visible when the shield's halfway open. They only appear when the shield's full open because it needs to be in full open position to change the shield. All you do is click those guys up, you'll hear a pop, and you take it off there. It makes a lot of noise when it comes off. Trust me, you're not going to break it. It's a very easy shield change system. Ratchet off. To put it back on, you basically just reverse that. Slide it in from the top and close it. To make sure you did it correctly, as soon as you open it back up, those two arms pop back out, you did everything right, you're off and running. The reason I tell you this is because a lot of people really want to clean your shield or you want to change it out to a tinted shield during the summer. Arai offers a lot of different shields, so please definitely check our website. We have the mirrored, all the mirrored colorways are covered. We have light smoke, dark smoke, just a clear replacement. And if you're out there in cooler weather, Arai has actually offered a pin lock shield. That pin lock shield has a recessed channel in the back side of it, and you add a second pane. So you can actually keep it clear if you wanted to. You want to put bright amber, whatever it is you're looking for to get out of that, light smoke, dark smoke. But now that you have that second piece in there, you have a double pane. That definitely keeps that shield from fogging up in colder weather. And you can crack those brow vents, get a little bit of air in there as well, and you're off and running. Like I said, again, this helmet is available in a lot of different sizes and a lot of different graphics. Please check our website at LeatherUp.com to find the graphic and size that best suits you. Thanks for checking us out and enjoy your ride.